Okay, I want to introduce this next group. This is actually a commission-approved initiative from some IKEA donation that the agency received. We had about 12 awardees for our pre-apprenticeship pilot program, and today I want to introduce 2 of those awardees. We are a year into this 2-year project, so we have some great success and partnership collaboration we want to share with y'all today. Our first group will be McAllen College and their partner with North Texas Automobile Dealers. And then the second group on the panel today will be with SkillBridge Alliance and their partner Syntex Independent Electrical Contractors. So I'm going to start the session off to ask the IT folks to queue up a video with McAllen College's partner, Mr. Brent Franks.
My name is Brent Franks. I'm the president of the North Texas Automobile Dealers. I represent 215 franchise dealerships across North Texas that employ approximately 30,000 Texans each and every day, with the exception of Sunday.
So what got you started in this apprenticeship journey?
COVID. Like many businesses, we were all shut down in March of 2020. And we had just begun discussions with McAllen College, Dallas College, Tarrant College, and also Hill College about the educational needs of our dealers and how we can work together and set up a line of communication between all of them together with our dealers to be able to provide employees of the future. When everything was shut down, the federal government, the state government, and even local government, with our request, deemed our businesses as essential to their communities, which means that our service areas and service departments were open for business, and that we were able to help our college partners like McAllen College take the students that have been relegated because of COVID to online learning to be able to place them in our dealerships and employ them so they can earn and learn and put in practice what they were learning online at our dealerships every day. That is extremely important, no matter whether your vocation is as an instructor or CT director over just the automotive programs that are all across Texas, or whether it's construction, or med tech, or any other career path that's labeled as CTE. We chose this kind of a relationship because during COVID, our education partners needed it. And so that gave us a foundation of discussion and communication, which is so important between business and industry, because we've been doing pretty much the same thing, which is complaining about lack of employees for decades. And we need about 76,000 new auto techs every year all across the country. And that's a lot of people. And when you think about the number of people that our dealerships employ in North Texas, which is about 30,000 people, a large percentage of those people are automotive techs. The techs that are my age, or close to my age, are saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to retire. Well, the problem is that we're not replacing them as quickly as we should. The industry studies that we've conducted over the past 2 to 3 years have said the same thing. Students, and most importantly, the parents, don't understand the career path into the automotive industry. And if we don't provide that career path, and some other industries have done a better job than we have, so we're playing catch up, then we're not going to replace them with the type of workers we need in the 21st century, which we're in right now. And that means a technology astute individuals who understand program code, writing, diagnostics, because we all know the problems we've faced due to COVID with the lack of materials, a lack of computer chips, a lack of availability of many parts to even repair cars that we've been driving for several years. And so we need our partnership with McAllen College, Dallas College, Tarrant College, Hill College, and we'll be adding other colleges as well across North Texas, to really work with us, to put us on advisory committees, just as McAllen College has done, so that industry and education is working together to teach what's needed in our businesses. And if we can do that, the important thing about our apprenticeship program, and we also have a pre-apprenticeship program as well, is to be able to allow individuals who need to work without accumulating a lot of debt. So the earn and learn philosophy is espoused through many CTE programs, is one that we embrace. And we appreciate the opportunity to work with our education partners to make sure that as things change in our industry, there's nothing changing as fast as the automotive industry, as we all know, because of the technology. The people that started their career 30 years, 40 years ago, it was a different job at that time. Today, it is a very computer-centric job. Diagnostics is extremely important, and be able to use power safely. Because when you think about EVs, or alternative fuel vehicles, you know, we have a lot of different safety concerns, and electric fires with batteries, and being able to handle that properly is where training comes into play. So as we continue to work with our education partners, then we will transition from the learning of yesterday to the learning of today and also tomorrow.
I love your understanding and connection of collaboration as well as looking to do new things. Can you share a little bit about what you've learned through this process?
I've learned that one business model and one education model and one government model for education operating on their own don't work without collaboration and without communication and without buy-in support from the industries that our educators serve. We have to be able to work together to fill in the gaps, because we all are learning every day in what we do, and we all have to try things that are different. And communication is the main thing that we all need to come together on. We need to be able to communicate with our partners in Collin County, Denton County, Dallas County, Tarrant County, Gill County, wherever it is, so that we're all on the same page and not working towards things that only may serve one master, but one things that we work together on so that we serve everybody. And the number of automotive manufacturers out there is growing every day. So we need to be able to give the students and people interested in maybe a career change the opportunity to learn and to be certified in certain areas of auto technology or welding or home building or whatever it may be, to be able to earn and learn at the same time. We can only do this if all of our partners are working together to support the educators. Because what you do as educators is so much in need of a show of appreciation from industry. You know, certain industries do a better job of it than others, just like other individuals do it for other people as well. You know, so I want to say thank you on behalf of the franchise automobile dealers in North Texas, and actually all of Texas, because what you do and what you provide is an opportunity for students who may not be right for a four-year degree program, that's not the career path that they want to go into, to explore other opportunities. And we just want to be on the list of opportunities to explore, because we also have our own training program that we do in partnership with our education partners, where we've created a micro training program called Fast Track Auto Tech. It's a training program that can take an individual, put them through 5 weeks of concentrated training while they are employed in a dealership, and then they're able to earn a living wage, which is about $40,000 a year in Texas, after only 5 weeks of training. After they achieve that and are working, and they decide, you know what, I want to go to college. I want that 2-year degree program. I want to step it up in these other areas that I haven't learned just on the trade side of it, that I can learn at a 2-year degree program as well. Because we have people in our dealerships today that are my age, which is not young, you know, that started out as 18-year-old technicians many years ago. And they've gone back to school. They've gone through manufacturer training programs. And now they're general managers and actually owners of franchise car dealerships in North Texas. So the career path is there, because if we can give those skill sets to individuals who want to continue learning throughout their career, who just don't want to do the same thing every day, but are met with new challenges every day, which happens at a car dealership every day. Somebody has something that's broken, somebody needs to diagnose what's wrong with that vehicle, and someone needs to come up with a plan to repair that vehicle safely. And that's what we're trying to do, is to show that our students are a career pathway into the automotive industry.
So to follow up with Mr. Franks and the North Texas Automobile Dealers, we have Collin College here today. So Monica Jones, the manager of apprenticeships and employer engagement, is going to speak a little bit more about that partnership they have with North Texas Automobile Dealers.
Thank you, Tara. Oops. Know if we're on yet? Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning. I'm excited to be here to represent Collin College and our partnership with the North Texas Automobile Dealers Association. One of the things that Brent Franks talked about in the video, and he couldn't be here today, so that's why he sent the video, but he sends greetings and thank you for all that you do. One of the things that he talked about in the video was collaboration, making sure that we all understand what the needs are. We know what the needs are. We need workers, right? We need a pipeline. We need a sustainable pipeline. And so one of the things that he didn't mention in the video, while all this was going on, this little global kind of hiccup called COVID happened. And during that time, in fall of 2020, Collin College opened a technical campus. It is completely dedicated to the traditional trades. And so automotive and collision is one of our areas. Prior to the existence of that campus, we did have a partnership with a number of organizations, including IAC, with pre-apprenticeship programs. But specifically when we were presented with the opportunity to apply for the grant for pre-apprenticeship through the Texas Workforce Commission, we looked specifically at what could we look at that there was a dire need, there was a partner who was ready, willing, and able to join with us, and that led us to the North Texas Automobile Dealers Association. Again, when we talk about these partnerships that came through connection from our EDC, and one of the things that we're also looking at as we continue to build this out is our partnership with our ISDs in the areas. One of the unique aspects of our technical campus at Collin College, the bottom floor of it is dedicated to dual credit. So we don't have to go seek out and create those articulation agreements. They're right there. We do have to do the articulation agreements, but we don't have to go recruit those students. And so when we looked at this pre-apprenticeship grant program, we provided scholarships for our students who were in the second semester. So when you talk about who are you recruiting, what's the structure, a lot of it lended itself and was very easy because the population was there. We just had to connect the students with the NTXAD, excuse me. And one of the things that, we're looking to do is to streamline the process as far as how do students create that connection. So really building out the marketing with NTXAD as well as through Collin College. We're also looking at providing an orientation to those students. So when they go through our automotive orientation, they're also going to go through an orientation for their pre-apprenticeship and on to their registered apprenticeship program with NTXAD. Another thing that we're looking at is expanding the dual credit options that we offer at the technical campus, but also at other areas within Collin County. And so, when you start thinking about creating these pipelines and creating this structure, it really comes to the question of how do we get everybody at the table, one? How do we create these partnerships? Because we don't want to just rely on what we've always done, rely on the same population. So creating those partnerships with the ISDs has been very beneficial and created the opportunity for this pre-apprenticeship program, as well as more that we are developing with our ISDs. And I know on the last panel, both Kim and Shonda referenced creating and building this, if you will, population of learners. And we were talking up here right before we got started, education is not this finite entity that has a beginning and an end. It's a lifelong journey. So as we all go back to our respective areas and creating pre-apprenticeships and apprenticeship program, it's about starting at one place and continuing a journey. And as I know Dave will talk about, that's why it's called a journeyman. So again, that's when we talk about pre-apprenticeships, it's about planting that seed early and creating continuous learning throughout. So I will turn it back over to Tara.
Thank you, Monica. So the second program I want to highlight is Kevin Brockmeyer. He's the Chief Executive Officer with SkillPoint Alliance, and his partnership with Dave Johnson, the Executive Director of Syntex Independent Electrical Contractors. Take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's really exciting to be here. Thank you, Tara. We're very grateful for this opportunity for the pre-apprentice grant that we received back in September of 2021. I'm going to start off by just kind of giving you a little background about SkillPoint. There it is.
You got to run two monitors.
I know.
Can you do that?
So, SkillPoint Alliance was established back in 1994. We are a 501c3 workforce development training organization. Our model is a rapid training model, and so we bring folks into our programs 4 to 6 weeks. They train Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. We treat it like a real job, so you're expected to be there on time. You have to be there every day. Our goal is to get these individuals ready for employment. See, we train folks in various trades, including electrical, plumbing, HVAC, sheet metal, and we also have an advanced manufacturing program. We use grants and private funding to help support all of the work that we do, including wraparound services, employment assistance, things that students might need to get through the training. And our classes include lecture, real-world experiences through hands-on and skill building, class projects, field trips, and others. In 2021, as I mentioned, we received this grant, and it goes through 2023. A little bit about our program structure. Again, I said it was about a 4-week pre-apprentice program. Our pre-apprentice HVAC program is 5 weeks. While they're in the program, students receive their OSHA 10 they get a Greenlee conduit bending certification, NCCER for plumbing and HVAC, and the Environmental Protection Agency 608 certification. Students receive their apprenticeship license through the TDLR and the State Board of Plumbing Examiners. We collaborate very closely with the IEC to identify candidates that might be a good fit and who'll succeed in our program. So Dave over here and his team will refer students to us so that we can get them enrolled in our program.
My turn?
That's you.
Okay.
You're up.
Good morning. How are we doing? All right. Well, my name's Dave Johnson. I'm the executive director here in Central Texas chapter of the IEC, the Independent Electrical Contractors Association. A little bit about our chapter. We've been around for about 25 years in Central Texas. However, we do have 10 chapters around the state, the IEC does, and there's a little controversy about who actually started IEC between Dallas or Houston about 80 years ago, but we've been around for a long time. We are a traditional apprenticeship training program, which is a great model. Okay, and you guys that are just getting into apprenticeship training programs or thinking about apprenticeship training programs, unlike a traditional training where you train, and then you go out and try to get a job or hope to get a job on what you trained on, registered apprenticeship is all about jobs. We assist you after the pre-apprenticeship program. We assist you in getting a job with one of our employers, and I represent about 140 in Central Texas, and we have about 680 across the state, okay? Well, we get you a job, and then we train to a career. That's what it's all about with apprenticeship. You know, when we're talking about that group of folks that aren't going to go to college or aren't going to go to the military right away, and we do want people coming from the military into our program. And we want those other workers. We need workers. We are hiring across the board, across the state right now. But with programs like Skill Point, I've been involved with Skill Point almost since they started in Central Texas, and they were a real small group, but they've really, I want to brag on Kevin here. Kevin's probably one of the best things that happened to Skill Point several years ago, to take that program and promote the quality and just balloon it to what it is today. And you see in the picture of my training director, Eric Perales, right there in the red shirt. We go out and we promote, and we recruit out of the high schools. We recruit out of hamburger places, car washes, anywhere we can find people that look like they're good workers. We say, you want to double your income in 4 years? You know, come work for us. Come get into our apprenticeship program, and we'll run them through the pre-apprenticeship over here with Kevin first. And that gets them set up to be successful in their job with one of our employers, giving them that OSHA 10 and those soft skills on interviewing, and just being successful. That's what it's all about. I was visiting one of my members the other day, and she was talking about the soft skills on interviewing and how some of these people come into interview and the first thing they do, start doing this right here, you know, looking at their phone. He said, that's the first thing that, nope, you know. And so they do a great job on helping them with the soft skills. You may want to talk about it a little bit more in a minute on the interview process. But then again, I talked to another member the other day about interviewing, and he had a person come in a tank top and flip-flops to interview for electrical journeyman job. He wasn't going to hire the guy, but he really did need the worker right then, so he hired the guy. Turns out he's one of his best electricians he's got out there in the field now. So you never know about this generation. I would never go to a job interview in tank top and flip-flops, but this generation does. So that's what we do as a partnership. And we're always open to any questions you have as far as wanting to get a pre-apprenticeship going or a registered apprenticeship going within your location, your area, your employers, and things of that nature. What else can I say as far as this introductory part? I think that's about it for right now. So, Kevin?
Thanks, Dave. I want to say, you know, our relationship with the IEC it's unbelievable in how successful it's helped us with our programs. We actually are almost co-located. We lease from Dave, so our training facility is actually next door, and there's an open hallway that goes between the two offices or two training areas. And so Dave's staff oftentimes will come over and just pop in and talk to our students, meet with our instructor, give some advice. Sometimes Eric, the guy there in the red, he'll bring them over and have tacos and talk to them about the industry. And so there's this really good relationship that we have, and it makes it real easy to work together. And that's something I'm really proud of that we've been able to establish. And it was Dave that invited me over to actually work out of that building. And so it's been something, it was a dream for us because we really wanted to have our offices located in the same place that we trained. And so that, to me, has been a real key, important aspect of what we were doing together. A little bit about employment engagement and employment preparation. For us, employment feedback and engagement is very, very important. We have a mentoring program where we invite employers to come into our facility and talk to our students in class. So, you know, employers will come in, they'll have lunch, they'll bring lunch, they'll talk to our students about what is it like to work at their company, what is it like to be an electrician, what are the things that you should do and shouldn't do. And those are opportunities where the employer can let the students know who they are, and at the same time the students get to sort of interview the employer and really kind of figure out whether or not they may want to work at that company. And so they're taking notes and really kind of figuring it out whether they want to be there and work for them or not. And also, during that time that we have our students there, as Dave mentioned, we do resume building. Our students are working on building out their resumes, creating a LinkedIn profile. They're doing interview training, and we sometimes invite employers to even do that. So again, I've been asked oftentimes, what is the secret sauce to the program? And it really is the employers. Without our employers, we could not do this, because at the end of the day, our goal is what? To get them hired, right? So our students come to us to get trained so that they can get hired. And so building those relationships and growing those relationships with employers is really crucial. We also have employers that host on-site tours. So you can see down here, we've got a tour at a project at Bowie High School in Austin, where students were able to actually go on site and tour and get to see what's going on and actually see how things are done. And so it's real critical, again, with that employer engagement.
You know, in talking about the employer engagement, I really do like this aspect of our relationship with each other and our programs, is it allows my employers of our association to come in and talk with the apprentices, and it helps to eliminate some of that expectations that they're both seeking, both the student and the employer, what each other's looking for. It's what I think one of the things that makes us successful, and they do that multiple times throughout the 4 to 6 weeks that they're in their pre-apprenticeship class. And then the job site visits, those are very well received also. They got to be scheduled, things like that, to come out to a job site. But I think it gives that student a taste of what it's like. It is construction. You're out there in the elements, in the cold and the hot, in the summertime. But it's very rewarding. And I personally, I'm a product of apprenticeship, by the way. I went through an apprenticeship program in the late 70s. Yeah, I've been around that long. I've been doing this for a long time. Worked in the field for 15 years. I've been a project manager, I've been an estimator, I've been a business owner. I helped start the chapter in Austin in 1996. I've been the head instructor there since then, and then I took the executive director job in 2006. So apprenticeship is really that foundation, and it sets your life on that career path, and it is a lifetime of opportunities. And one of the gentlemen on the last panel said, write your why down on the card. Well, I just wrote the word why. I didn't really put a bunch of reasons down here, but I think my why and why I do this is because I think it's really important, and you guys that have been through an apprenticeship program and you're out there, and I've seen some of the, I think it's really important for us to give back to the industry, to give back, to pass this industry on to the next generation of workers out there. And that's why I do what I do, and why I love doing what I do. As the director of an association, you go in, you create a stellar program, you create a very quality program, and people are drawn to it, and that's what's going on. That's the secret to your success, I think. And I think that's the secret to the success of Skill Point. Kevin's done a great job of creating that quality program that people are drawn to.
And to kind of pivot off of that, I think another important aspect of our program is employer feedback is incredibly crucial to the success of our program. All of our programs are designed with employer input. And so the good thing about us is we're able to pivot as needed whenever we need to. So if an employer comes in and says, we need you to modify your curriculum and teach this, we're able to do that pretty quickly because our classes are 4 weeks. So then the next 4-week class, we can change the curriculum if we need to meet those needs. It's not done that quickly, but just to say that it's easy to do for us, and so we're able to apply that to that aspect of what we do. I do also want to mention that because of grants like what we get from TWC, we're able to offer our programs for free. So there is no charge for our students to come into our program, and there's no charge to the employers for hiring our students either. We are committed to, our programs are free, and we offer it to individuals that specifically are 200% below the poverty line. Our mission is to pull individuals out of poverty and get them into a job that has tremendous upward mobility. And so programs like Dave's is definitely something that does that.
Not to exclude Monica here, but I know she has a relationship with our Fort Worth chapter. I want to visit about that a little bit.
Sure. With our pre-apprenticeship with IEC, with the Fort Worth chapter, it's actually offered through our continuing education. And so when we look at these different models of pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship, we can also, because with the NTX AD is actually on our credit side, And then we have the non-credit side through continuing education. And so we have a lot of flexibility there, and it allows, and again, that existence of our partnership was created prior to the opening of our technical campus. And our technical campus is a 300,000 square foot facility that really has trade bars that really speak to specific areas. So HVAC, electric, plumbing, construction, automotive, and collision. So when you talk about the partnerships in updating curriculum that Kevin mentioned, we're able to sit with employers, and they're on our advisory committees that Brent mentioned in the video, and really shape what we're doing. So if we can't offer it on the credit side, because those of you working in education understand that curriculum takes a little bit of time to, create and develop and get approved, we're able to start that and kind of tickle that industry, or tickle the brain, like I call it, those opportunities on the non-credit side in continuing education. And that way you can start building capacity for those programs to continue if you want to establish it as a credit program. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So some of the successes we've had, or you still in employment? Yeah, right there. Some of the successes we've had, and I'm really proud of this. We got together, and I'm glad Eric did this, my training director, this past 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. These are about 18 of our skill point folks that we just indentured into our apprenticeship program a couple weeks ago, that are graduates of the Skill Point Alliance, and they're actually employed by our employers. So this is just a sampling of what we've done for the past number of years with Skill Point, which is really successful.
Yeah, so this was really exciting. This was a really large class that began in September, that started over at the IEC, and so we were excited to see them get going in their first year. And so a little bit about some of the successes, our graduation rates and the wages from 2021. Y'all can see those on the slide. And then in 2022, the wages actually kicked up quite a bit. Average employment rates are ranging anywhere between 69 to 100% in some cases. Our graduation rates typically run around 90, 92%. We lose a student here and there. We don't like to lose students, but again, we got to make sure that our students are employment ready, and so we do everything that we can to get them there. We have an admissions team that works really, really hard. We have 2 individuals on that team that's all they do all day is work on recruitment and admissions and getting the students into the programs. And then in the middle, we have a student success coordinator, and her primary job is to make sure that, we understand that life happens, and so we want the things that might cause you a barrier or cause you angst while you're on the job to happen here when they're in our program, so that we can work with our students and teach them the skills that they need and to have a plan. If your car breaks down, what are you going to do? You got to have some transportation plan. And so we provide students bus passes, or we can hook them up with some transportation services, things like that. There's childcare that we work with our local workforce board that provides assistance for that. So we're trying to eliminate as many barriers as we can before the students go to work and get the job that they want. And so we're, those are just some things that we do. We have also, once the student does graduate, we do follow up with them and make sure that they are continuing in employment. We work with the employers to make sure that everything is going well, so that if they need support while they are on the job, we can help them there as well. And just a few of our other apprenticeship program partners. There's ABC, the Associated Builders and Contractors, IBEW, and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 286. That's it.
And I will add, when you talk about having the student success coordinators, when everyone has been presenting about apprenticeship and creating different systems and things of that nature, having someone to walk an apprentice or a pre-apprentice through the process is very crucial. One of the things that we have in our programs at McAllen is a workforce program coach, and they do essentially what that student success coordinator that you mentioned would do, help connect them to resources within the college district, but also within the county. So if they need food support because there's something going on at home, if they need to be connected to childcare. So having someone lead them through that process, a navigator, if you will, or a concierge that says, hey, I know you have a need, let's connect you to a resource. And I think that's very important as you look at the structure of any type of system that you build or any type of program that you build with apprenticeships, is providing that support. We're talking about serving underserved populations. Well, someone has to navigate them through either the paperwork process with an employer, as well as the paperwork process through educational partners, and helping to translate all of the speak that we have in higher education and employees. And with the DOL, I know John Kuznar and I talk quite a bit. There's so much things that we understand and knowing what the processes are, but we still get bogged down in those processes and the bureaucracy. So helping lead individuals through that is how we'll really continue to provide success to those that we serve in our respective communities. And I know in the last panel they talked about, the why, and what I wrote down in the why is creating access and pathways for all. And so why we all do what we do is really creating those pathways, creating those opportunities, and exposing individuals to things that they may never have been exposed to before. We have a number of students who are going through our automotive and collision program, and we added collision later on when we started our pre-apprenticeship with NTXAD. And the reason we did that is we have a female director in collision, and she's like, well, where are the ladies? Where are they in automotive? Where are they in collision? Oh, they don't know this is an option? So let's really expose them to this career path. And so that's one of the things that NTXAD is going to go back and do and modify their registered apprenticeship, is add collision formally in there, because right now it's just for the automotive technician occupation. So again, that came through conversations and collaboration and just looking at different things that we need as we go after different segments and different populations, just making sure that we create opportunity and access.
I think the access is the really important part that both of these folks do. And I've learned something today that I didn't realize y'all did that type of thing. We do this every day, but those students out there don't. And having those coaches in those positions to guide them through the paperwork and all the soft skills they need to be successful, I think is extremely important. That's awesome. Thank you.
And I guess I got to get my why in here too. So
Go for it.
I think for me, I was a high school principal in a school district, very low socioeconomic school district, and as I can recall being on stage and shaking hands with the students as they were coming across and looking at them and wondering to myself, what's going to happen with their life? Where are they going to go? Because only 40% of the students in that school district were actually even going to college. And of that 40%, only 20% of those actually even made it through the first year. So that's about 80% of that entire graduating class. Where are they going? Where are they? We didn't know. Nobody knew. And so that was sort of an aha moment for me. It was like, this has got to change. We've got to provide our students with options. We've got to level that playing field. We've got to right the ship here. And so for me, that was really, my why is how can we create opportunities for these individuals who are not going to college? We all have heard it, college isn't for everyone, and college is important, but there's so many different pathways, and now it has changed, and that was several years ago. Things have changed, and I'm excited about what the future holds for sure.
And I'll add to that. When you talk about, college isn't for everyone, but learning is.
Exactly.
Learning happens
Absolutely,
in and outside of a classroom. So when we talk about changing the narrative, it really is about creating lifelong learners. And again, learning happens everywhere. I mean, we learn from each other just by having these conversations, by sitting in the hallway, by having lunch. There's learning happening. So the narrative shouldn't just be you have to do this to gain it. You can intersperse it throughout your career, and that's what we're here to do, create those lifelong learners. And when we talk about that, also respecting what people know. So this is my challenge to educational partners, creating that credit for prior learning and prior learning assessment. In the new strategic plan, the updated one for the coordinating board, they specifically listed apprenticeships and credit for prior learning as strategies for the state of Texas. That was I took that personally as like, yes, this is what we have to do. That's what I did in a former role at McAllen College. So looking at specifically with North Texas Auto Dealers, we just received our ASC certification as an institution. And so if we're providing that through education, when someone comes in the door with that, we need to honor that learning that already took place and that mastery with some college credit. So again, really marrying education, the workforce, and just looking at how we do things differently, I think is a key component to success for all of us.
Okay, well, we'll open the floor to any questions the audience might have for our panelists today. Remember, there's 2 microphones at either end of the room. I see someone making their way.
We may not have an answer, but we'll take your question.
Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Steve Dodd with IBM Corporation. Not really a question, but an affirmation about pre-apprenticeship programs. And it's not just in the trades, but in IT, we have a pre-apprenticeship program with San Jacinto Community College underneath the U.S. Department of Labor Scaling Apprenticeship Grant. And in that, we offer pre-apprenticeship programs in IT generalists, software engineering, data scientists, network administration, and database. And what we do with that program, because we're looking at offering apprenticeship programs in IT to underrepresented populations, is we start off that program with an assessment of an individual who takes that program. And what that assessment is, and it's not a test, it's not like the TABE, right? It's an assessment of someone's individuals. And when you're looking at a population of underrepresented individuals, and you want to get those individuals who do not have that 4-year degree or 2-year degree, what it does and what it's shown to us is that it provides some feedback to those individuals that, in fact, they can get a job in IT. And it's very important that it says, here it is as an affirmation to me as an individual that I can possibly do the pre-apprenticeship program. And then we track them into one of the 4 program tracks that they go into. And as an example where this has worked very well is that for the last 18 months, I've been working with some Fortune 100 and 500 clients in IBM across the U.S. in the financial banking industries to place apprentices with these corporations for mainframe computing. And through our pre-apprenticeship program, what it has done is that we've been able to place 150 plus individuals into these programs where they've been able to hire these individuals directly into IT mainframe apprenticeship programs. And that front-end apprenticeship program is the reason today that these are some career-changing, life-changing jobs that these individuals have received. And my affirmation is just that, if you do some upfront work, some foundational studies, some foundational information and technologies, and you screen them and you show them that they have the opportunity to do this. On the back end, what it does is a very, very successful completion of apprenticeship programs, and I think our apprenticeship completion rate is something like the 90 percentiles. The other thing that's in that program as well is that Kevin, David, you mentioned this, is that we have a section in there for soft skills, right? Because it's important to do that because we see the same thing. One of the challenges we have is those who take a pre-apprenticeship program is starting it and finishing it. Right? And obviously, if you don't finish the program, you're not going to get that opportunity for the apprenticeship office there. And part of that is soft skills training as well. Last comment I have is that the program, pre-apprenticeship program we offer through Sanjay, it's available to anyone who has IT apprenticeship program across the U.S., and there's no cost to the pre-apprentice who takes the program because the costs are covered by the grant administered by San Jacinto. Again, all I want to do is just some affirmation about pre-apprenticeship programs because it does set up the population we're looking to serve into a successful candidate to complete an apprenticeship program.
Thank you. I do want to comment on that because I think you're right on your point is the affirmation of it is really important to note because for us, the program is free to all of our students, right? But they spend 4 weeks of their life in our program. Sometimes they don't even work during that time. And so there's a commitment that they are giving to being in that program Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 every single day. And so being able to show that to potential employers and to apprenticeship programs is really important and it's key. And so we when you graduate from our program, and I'm sure with y'all as well, is those students have shown that they can do it and they're committed and they're ready to go. They are ready and hungry for that career.
And I'll also add, when you talk about creating these opportunities, I want you to think about this. And I was shocked when I heard this. Does everybody remember the breach that happened at Target a couple years ago? That breach actually happened. It was an IT breach, cybersecurity, but it actually happened through our HVAC system in Target, but their HVAC system. And so understanding the need not only for the workers, but the need for the collaboration between sectors, for them to really understand the importance of what we're doing. We're not just talking about, oh, let's do the traditional trades and then we'll get to this. It really is about creating a workforce and creating a society that's safe and that's sustainable. And so just think about that overall when you think about creating these pre-apprenticeship programs. It's not just in one sector, it's across all.
We'll go across the room here. Yes, ma'am.
Just listening to everything, I just think I'm really sold on pre-apprenticeship model. So this conference is definitely working. But I was just thinking about, why does it still feel like apprenticeship is like a well-kept secret? And is there anything that the panel can talk about, like outreach strategies, what y'all have done that has worked, what we can do better as community partners, government agencies to spread the word? And then just to make sure what I'm thinking is that the programs are really popular, so I just want to double check that and ask Skill Point Alliance how the recruitment is going. Are the classes always filled? Do you all have wait lists? Once people do find out about it, are you able to enroll year round?
Okay, let me start with the recruitment piece. I think you're right. So there is an awareness gap out there. And I think the thing that we've been really focused on over the last year, we've engaged with a PR firm and Skill Point to really help get the word out, and it has been
Eye-opening.
amazing. Their primary focus is to tell our story, and so they are constantly engaging with different news media outlets to get our story out there, and so we will find that different Spectrum News or KXAN or KView will be coming to us to ask us about a certain group of students that are enrolled in one of our classes, and they'll do an online story or a story that ends up being online and on TV, and just like that, overnight enrollment just kicks up exponentially. So the key is to getting the word out as best that you can, whether that's on TV, whether that's on the internet, however you can do it. That is what we have learned over the last year, and it is our enrollment has increased a lot, and we're excited about it. All of our classes in the most recent classes have been filled to capacity. We're actually have wait listing into 2023 now for some of our classes. So yeah, that component is very important. The outreach, we're tabling at events all the time. Word of mouth is also key. Former students talking about your programs, and then engaging with your partners as well.
Yeah.
I think keeping apprenticeship as a secret, I think there's more of a stigma that has to get changed in our industry, that we're looking for people with weak minds and strong backs, and that's absolutely not true at all. In our trade, and with our electrical trade, with digital electricity and power over Ethernet and pulse energy technology, and cybersecurity is actually engaging into our electrical trade. Our trade is changing so fast, I can't keep up with it, and I sit on a code panel for NFPA. So I think we got to change this stigma that we need strong minds in this industry, all across the board, all the different technical trade or construction trades, but other trades too. So I think that's not so much a secret, I think that's the stigma we need to change.
And I would agree with the changing of the perception of just industries that traditionally haven't received highlights. And again, haven't helped us to really understand. When we faced the pandemic, when we started talking about essential workers, I think that fostered the need to up the visibility of what really makes our society work and how it works, and really understanding, everyone is important in contributing, but we also need to protect and continue to foster education and growth in different industries and the, download of knowledge, if you will. So when you talk about those recruiting efforts, how do you get people involved? One of the things I know that we're doing in our area, we partner with our EDC, with our ISD, with Workforce Solutions. And so when employers are coming into our area, instead of setting up 3 individual meetings, we're all at the table together when they're ready to start talking about apprenticeship, or just saying, hey, we're having some retention problems, we're having some recruitment problems. We almost don't even give them the opportunity. We just say, hey, here is your solution right here. You didn't even know that there was a problem quite yet, but here you go. And so we've had a lot of success with that. And one of the examples that I'll share is there was a wind energy corporation that was moving into our area. North Texas, not a lot of, wind turbines, I'm just saying. So they were coming in, but our EDC and McKinney reached out to us and said, hey, we want to connect them with you because we know that we're going to have to create a pipeline of talent. And so that presented an opportunity that we never would have sought. Because again, that's not something that we readily teach, but it gave us the opportunity to really tap into our continuing education and then sit down with our employer partner to say, what's the curriculum that's needed? And from that, we were able to tap into HVAC and electricity, because you have to understand the basics of electricity to understand wind power. And so it just gave us an opportunity to kind of shift everything and really gain some understanding and opportunities for us. So thank you for that question.
Thank you so much.
And to tag on to what Monica said, you're being shy. So part of that wind energy was working with their partner for the college, and the partner decided who would be a sponsor of a registered apprenticeship program. And McAllen College stepped up to the plate and became a sponsor of a registered apprenticeship program with that wind energy company. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Sure. Tech Winds is the name of the company. And again, apprenticeship seems really scary to some people. So when you talk about it's a well-kept secret, it's also very, very scary, because they think, oh my gosh, I got to do some DOL paperwork. I have to do all of these things. And so really it was an opportunity for us. It actually created my job. And so again, presenting the opportunity to take the heavy lifting, if you will, from the employer partner to say, how do we help facilitate meeting your needs, but also taking care of the administrative things that need to happen to make this successful. And so that's what we did. And we've been pretty much taking that and using the consortium model that was presented to us by our DOL rep to say, we have so many employers who are moving into this area, and we know they don't have the capacity to take on that, so we'll take it. And so it's growing and growing and growing. And when you talk about exposure, yeah, we have more business than we can handle right now, but it's a good thing.
That's awesome. Dr. James.
Yes, I applaud what you all are doing, but there have been some comments about college is not for everyone, and Commissioner Alvarez addressed that. He said any education or learning after high school is college. And so what I want to share with you all that you may not know about are the crosswalks that have been developed using funding from TWC as well as higher ed. And we've got 20 for sure. We're working on the next 2 crosswalks in apprenticeships, where we have outlined all of the skills that are necessary for registered apprenticeship, that are actually the skills that have been approved by the Department of Labor, and we've crosswalked them with all of the community college courses in those areas. And so when you have someone who has achieved the journeyman level, they can take that journeyman certification from the Department of Labor, go to any community college in the state of Texas, and that college will use the crosswalk to give them college credit. according to that community college's policies and procedures. So some colleges may give you a little more credit than others, but you have to follow those college procedures. And so I think this follows along. I don't necessarily believe in straight pathways. I believe in stairways and landings. And so once they get to a landing, they may decide they want to go get some college credit and earn an associate degree or whatever. And these crosswalks certainly give them that opportunity. And TWC will contact us when they say they see a need for a new crosswalk. And just so all of you know, these crosswalks are developed with what I call the faculty from the community colleges, and we invite faculty from around the state to participate, as well as the subject matter experts in those industries, so that the two can agree on the skills that are taught in the various courses. So you can find those on the TWC website as well as on the higher ed website.
Thank you for those comments. I would like to learn more about that. When you graduate our apprenticeship program, we do have what's called an ACE certification, which you can receive up to 41 hours of college credit when they get the Department of Labor certificate. I think Mr. Alvarez may talk on that a little bit more later, which is a really head start to getting that degree or associate's degree. But I'd like to know more about the Crossroads project. We actually toyed with the idea of branding, a number of years back, calling our program a career college, but that never really did take off. I don't know why, but we may wind up going back to that. I'm not sure. That's good points. Thanks for those comments.
Yeah.
And I'll add to that, thank you for sharing that. This is the first time that we as a society have really been intentional about intersecting what happens in industry and education and creating different pathways and modes of learning. And so in creating that access, it's really, really important to continue to share that story. Because again, when you talk about the policies and procedures of that particular college, well, maybe that college hasn't really caught up to where everybody else is. And so sharing that message consistently, I sat on a briefing that the White House held a couple of weeks ago, and it was fun to just hear what industry was doing. And they started talking about degreed apprenticeships. And I was like, what? Oh, wait. And I'm in the room by myself, but that's okay because it was online. But I got excited because, again, it really is the marrying of industry and education and creating the society and workforces that we truly need.
All right, we'll go back over here. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Sylvia Purcell. Just a quick question on your pre-apprenticeships. At what age are your students engaging? I know there's a lot of, what we found with some employers is that they're concerned about the age group for liability purposes.
For us, it's 18 to 67.
Wow, that's great.
I had a 67-year-old enroll the other day, so.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Some that we're starting to create with partners, we're even looking at 16, depending on what the industry is. For some, you can't because of licensing and, protection and liability purposes, but some we are looking at 16 on up.
Our apprenticeship program starts at 18. You can apply at 17, but you have to be 18 before the first class you go to. Some of our employers will work people at 17 years old, summer help, things of that nature, and you can actually get an apprentice license with Texas Department of License and Regulations at 16 years old. But then you get into youth protection, and there's OSHA regulations on using power tools and stuff like that. So it really gets complicated on when you're under 18. So.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Giovanni Washington, Alamo Area Council of Governments. My question is, how do you support individuals with disabilities who may be interested in an apprenticeship program but traditionally haven't had those opportunities made available to them?
For pre-apprentice or apprentice programs?
Both.
So we've had, kind of interesting, we've had 2 individuals come through our program that were legally deaf. Okay, and I know it's hard on construction sites because OSHA really curtails that type of thing because they can't hear the beep, beep, beep of the backups and stuff like that on machinery. But you can work people in lease spaces and things of that nature. And both these folks that went through our program would really be really great light fixture people, plug and switch in and stuff like that. Unfortunately, neither one of them completed. They wanted to go on and get an engineering degree and went down that path, but they didn't complete our program. But we have accommodated some of that. But when it's construction, it gets difficult.
I think one of the things that we've done in our programs, sometimes it's really difficult in the automotive or collision because of the tight spaces that they're in. But again, it's all about creating opportunity. And so it's caused us or challenged us to be very creative. We've yet to have someone, and I'm waiting for it because I think it'll be a lot of fun, someone who is differently abled and in a wheelchair trying to work on a car. I'm waiting for it. I know it's coming. And it's challenging, but it's very exciting because it makes us as educators think differently and as employers think differently about how to accommodate. Because again, when you talk about lack of exposure about apprenticeships, it's lack of ability and ability to access different things just because we haven't thought about it and we haven't been challenged to change it. And so even though it may not currently exist for us right now, I know it's coming and it's a lot of fun to think about. So thank you for that question.
And same with Skill Point. I mean, we've had a few individuals come through our programs that we've provided accommodations for, and they've graduated and gone on. So it just depends on the situation.
And disability.
Yeah, and the disability, yeah.
Gotcha, thank you.
Any other questions?
We know we're standing between you and lunch.
Yeah. I'm sure y'all
Clock
won't
says
mind
we
if
got
we break
6
early.
minutes.
Well, I do want to thank our panelists today. Great projects going on.